Exclusive footage of special forces in action in the Iraq War next here on BBC One. What might happen if we don't stop eating on BBC Two? And also into the future, Bruce Willis stars in the thriller 12 Monkeys on BBC Three.
When it comes to solving crimes,
this is a fake.
We need to trace the original and return it to the palace.
There's a method to their madness.
I've been totty forever.
I'll bet.
New tricks, tomorrow at 9 on BBC One.
We're late. James?
Yeah, Mom.
Where have you put my briefcase?
Kitchen. Come on.
Open wide, please.
It's business. Hello?
Hi, it's me.
Yeah, I'm in a meeting.
What's been happening in your world today? Catch up on what else has been happening with international, national and regional news on BBC One between 6 and 7.
Revealed for the first time exclusively now on BBC One, the secrets of high-tech warfare.
Who's that?
Steve's brother.
Is there someone else?
Yes.
You slept with her?
Come and get it.
You're very vulnerable.
Yeah, right.
I'm just telling you to be careful.
No, you're not. You're trying to scare me.
Circus must be back in town.
Looks like it.
You're too desperate to appear normal. And every time you look at me, I remind you of you.
Love makes you see things differently. Every time you look at me, next Wednesday at 9 on BBC Two.
The news now on BBC One with Fiona Bruce and Nina Hussain.
Battles rage across Iraq as coalition troops fight with both Shia and Sunni Muslim rebels. Scores of Iraqis are killed and US troops bomb a mosque compound. But America insists it's still in control and that only small numbers of people are causing the violence. Also tonight, Eurotunnel's entire board is sacked by angry shareholders in Paris. The multi-million-pound helicopters that can't fly in cloudy weather. And with clothes cheaper than they were in 1987, does the Bank of England need to worry about inflation?
On BBC London, 4,000 acres of NHS land turned into homes for key workers and eating their way to model behaviour, how the first ever organic nursery is changing our children.
Good evening. Coalition troops are fighting on two fronts in Iraq as they battle against both Shia and Sunni Muslim rebels in several towns throughout the country. In Fallujah, US Marines fired missiles into a mosque compound. They said they were responding to shots from inside. The attacks added to a death toll which has already reached at least 30 coalition troops and 150 Iraqis since the weekend. Despite the bloodshed, the US Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld insisted this evening that America is still in control in Iraq. The fiercest fighting is in the so-called Sunni Triangle north of Baghdad. In Fallujah, fighters vow to defeat the US forces surrounding the city. Battles also rage in Ramadi, where 12 American Marines were killed yesterday. And Shia fighters have also carried out a series of attacks on American forces across the south of the country. Our World Affairs editor, John Simpson, reports from Baghdad.
It's been the fiercest fighting for the coalition in the year since Baghdad fell. And what happened in Fallujah today has taken it to a new level. All the same, the Americans, who claim to have killed 40 insurgents in an attack on a mosque compound in the town, now say they failed to find any bodies there at all. But the Arabic news channel Al Jazeera filmed the ruins of a building where 25 people are thought to have died when the Americans attacked it. The mood in Fallujah was one of open rage as a result. If an Iraqi didn't feel hatred in his heart before, said this man, he will now. If the people are masked now, they'll pull their masks off and fight in the open. Resistance fighters are now operating openly in the streets of the town. Over on the other side, an American cameraman was filming the US forces in action. For them, the operation in Fallujah is all about the brutal murder last week of 4 American civilian contractors, and they're determined to end the rebellion in the town the hard way, if necessary.
The Fallujians are going to realize that we're the strongest force in the city, and that it's in their best interest to reject these foreign fighters and these terrorists and to embrace the coalition.
The violence extends further to the west, in the town of Ramadi, where 12 American Marines were killed yesterday. This was the aftermath. Those are Sunni Muslim towns, which have been hostile to the coalition all along. But this was the scene today in the big Shia Muslim area of South Baghdad, known as Sadr City. Again, open fighting here with the Americans too. Exactly a year ago, the Americans attacked Baghdad through Sadr City because they regarded it as friendly territory. But the sudden confrontation with the Shia cleric Muqtada Sadr, whose father gave his name to Sadr City, has changed all that. Sadr's followers are known as the Mehdi Army, and now the Americans are promising to wipe them out too.
We will conduct offensive operations. We will attack to destroy the Mahdi army. Those offensive operations will be deliberate, they will be precise, and they will be powerful, and they will succeed.
So now there's fighting on 2 fronts. It'd be wrong to think that the entire country is in flames, but there have been battles in at least 8 towns and cities in the past 2 days. It's serious, it could get worse, and the coalition is now in real danger of making enemies throughout Iraq. John Simpson, BBC News, Baghdad.
And John Simpson is in Baghdad now. John, the US Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld is saying that America is still very much in control in Iraq. Do the Americans have a strategy to contain this violence we're seeing now?
Well, I think they've got one basic strategy, which is simply to hand over power on the 1st of July to an interim Iraqi government. That counts for everything here, and that's why really there's not much chance that the Americans will back down on that, because to back down would be such an incredible defeat. After that, everything, frankly, is a matter of tactics rather than strategy. I mean, these attacks we were hearing about today are carried out basically on the orders of the local colonel, who will say, let's attack this place, let's attack that. In doing so, of course, they're picking up enemies, as we were just saying, in towns right across the country. But this is really the tactics of the thing. The basic strategy is just to hold on.
Okay, John, thanks very much indeed. George Bush was briefed today by his national security advisors about the escalating violence. As the number of American casualties in Iraq rises, opinion polls indicate that the confidence of the US public in the occupation is faltering. Matt Fry reports.
A home in Wisconsin. Here, the morning news became the worst news.
I heard the news report this morning 4 Marines had been killed again on my way driving to work in Green Bay, and never expecting to find out that it was my son.
Corporal Jesse Thierry, killed yesterday in Fallujah. He'd been there only 1 month.
You can think about it, you can read it in the paper, you can see it on the news. And nobody ever thinks, oh, it'll ever happen to you or ever happen to the family. And
23 years old and engaged to Jamie, his high school girlfriend.
Very big heart, lots of love. I'm gonna miss him a lot.
The Marines Memorial outside Washington, a good place to reflect on the price of war and whether it's worth paying. Most of the battles remembered here were far bloodier than Iraq, which has claimed 605 American soldiers at the last count. And most of the people we spoke to today thought that that price was not too high. People like Lee and David Ross from Oregon, father and son.
I feel for their families and everything, but I also have to say that the casualty numbers have been small, and for what we're doing, it's a very good thing.
So you stand behind the president on this?
Yes, I do.
What about you, sir?
stand behind him all the way.
Or this history class from Ohio on their first visit